it's Cynthia Lomelli and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to iron on faux leather. So I'm going to take you from start to finish, from creating the text, cutting it out, and ironing it on. So stay tuned. Hey guys, so let's jump right in. We're going to open Cricut Design Space. And we're gonna select on new project. As you can see, I already worked on 2 names on there, but I'm gonna show you exactly how I did that. So we're gonna click new project. And we're gonna start off by clicking onto the text on the left-hand side and enter the text you're trying to work on. So I'm gonna work on my sister's name, which is Sabina. So from here, I'm gonna move this name up. We're gonna change the style of font because I don't like this one. So click onto fonts, and I generally narrow it down to system. You're gonna have 3 tabs on top. It's gonna say all, system, and Cricut. System tab will show you all the preloaded fonts you had on your computer when you first got it, and then also fonts that you personally have downloaded. So from here, you could go down the list and narrow it down or view what kind of font you want to choose, but I already know the name of the font I'm going with, so I'm just going to search it. So here on the search, you're going to enter the name of it. Here it is, and select. So there we go. This font is called Red Velvet. I wanted to say Red Velvet, but it's not, so it's Red Velvet. So let's go with that. This was downloaded from the font. That's usually where I download all the different ones onto my computer. So it is a calligraphy font, but when you do any handwritten calligraphy style fonts on there, they don't come all together. You do have to connect them yourself. So what we're gonna do is select this, click onto Advanced, and then select Ungroup to Letters. What this is doing is it's separating each letter individually so I can control it. From here, I could simply just grab one letter and group it right next to the other. So we're gonna do that. Okay, that looks good. And then another thing I like doing is usually the first letter I like to make larger. It's just the style I prefer. So I'm gonna make that a little bit bigger, and the way you make it bigger is obviously you select the letter and then you get these little arrows so you can make it, size it however you want. I'm gonna settle for that and then attach it wherever you'd like. I'm gonna do this one a little bit higher. You know what? I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller and attach. Okay, I think that looks good. So in order for me to be able to adjust the size of this and move around the screen, what you need to do is highlight them all together, and then you're gonna press group right here on the far right hand side. You're gonna group them. What this allows me to do is move it all together in the screen and also adjust it to the size I want on there. So the little bags I got at Target, I measured it out. I want to make the names go no longer than 5 inches long and no wider than, let's say, 2.5 or 3 inches. So off the back, what I'm going to do is go up here where it says size, and for width, I'm going to enter 5 inches or 5.0. So now I know the name is 5 inches long. So that works. Now, something to keep in mind, I grouped the letters, but they're not welded. What that means is if I were just to go straight into cutting this out right now, it's going to cut all the little slices in between where I pretty much merge the letters together. I don't want that. So you need to weld it. Before you weld it, just make sure that's the way you want it. Once you weld, you could undo it, but as soon as you saved this project, you cannot undo any welding you did prior. So what I like doing is actually, let me zoom into this. I want to make sure each letter is attached the way I want it. So actually I'm gonna undo and undo again, undo again. I actually want to fix that eye. It was probably the tiniest little thing. Nobody probably would have noticed, but I would have noticed. There we go. There was a very tiny gap there that I wanted to fix. So now, yep, that looks good. Oop. Go back and highlight it, group, and we're gonna weld. Welding is actually down here on the bottom, if you didn't see. There we go. I'm gonna weld. Again, I do have to resize this, so I'm gonna go right into 5.0. It's sized up. There we go. I could zoom back out. Now, because these bags, I do plan on giving them out on Valentine's Day to my sisters and like my close friends. I kind of want to make it a little bit Valentine's themed, but not too much, not overbearing. So what I did is I downloaded some SVGs offline. Actually, the site I used, and I'll open up a second tab and show you, it's called Love SVGs, svg.com. This is generally where I look for some. Granted, you could just go on Google, search any image you want on there. This actually has a tab right now. It's called Valentine's Day. So I'm going to click on that tab. There's different kinds of styles here. So what I was looking is like these little extra ones here, like different kinds of arrows. You could maybe, if you like, let's say a little heart, you could get that. So just download these images and save it on your computer. But for the names in particular, what I'm going to do is add this arrow. So I'm going to click this arrow and insert. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it seem like this arrow is going through the name. So off the back, what I want to do is make it smaller. Let's see, is that too? I kind of want to make it the same width as the line of the text. Let's see. Let's keep it down to that. So in order for me to cut down this arrow in half, I'm simply going to click on shapes. I'm going to choose square. And what you're going to want to do is hover the square around the halfway mark here. So we're going to do it right there. And then you're going to select both images together. Then we go down here on the right hand side where it says slice. You're going to click on that. This is pretty much like a cookie cutter. It's cutting it out. So we could remove that big square and click it out. You could also remove this extra piece. I don't need that. But here it is now split. Okay? So let's move this name a little bit more in the middle. So now I could add, let's add this arrow here. Actually, let's put it more on the line. There we go. Let's say we add it there. And you could add your heart on the opposite end. You get the idea? Now off the back, this is a little too long, so I'm going to want to trim that down even more. That's pretty much simple. To trim it down, you do the same thing as prior. Just get a shape, preferably a square. And let's say I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. Let's cut it up to, up to there. That's fine. Select both images, slice that. There you go. Now you could keep playing with this. If this looks a little bit too wide in comparison, what I like doing is grouping them a little bit together, selecting them both and resizing it. The reason I do this together is because if I'm gonna resize one end, I want the opposite end to match it. That's the only reason. So from here, yeah, that looks a little bit more cohesive. So we're gonna go ahead and add it. There you go. play around with this if you want to add hearts around it, if you want to add it longer, shorter. Maybe you just wanted the arrow to be underneath. You could do that too, however you want. Now, before I start cutting this out, I do want to highlight it all together. Same thing as before, we're going to weld it, okay? There you go. So now it's sliced. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make this. So we're going to press make. And then if you were doing multiple cuts at a time and you were using scraps, you could actually move your text or objects around the mat however you want. I'm going to keep it by default on the top left hand side since I'm only cutting this right now. Because this is going to be iron-on, so I'm going to be using HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl on there. We do have to mirror this. So in order to mirror it, you're just simply going to press on this toggle right here. It's going to flip it, and we're going to press continue. So now that it's connected, I actually have a lot of my favorites that I've previously used already highlighted. That's why they're starred. But if you're just beginning, just press on this Browse All Materials tab. And you could either search everything on here, or you can narrow it down to vinyl. And then from here, it'll take you to, actually, let's see. Iron-on, there we go. Iron-on vinyl. So select the type of iron-on you are using, whether it's foil, glitter, holographic, you name it, you select it. Because I'm just using very standard white iron-on, I'm just gonna choose this one here and press done. Now, if you ever forget to mirror your project, you do get a warning before you start. So, let's say I forgot to put it, it'll remind me here to make sure to mirror it on. I am going to use default. I haven't needed the need to use any more pressure, but if you ever notice that for some reason your heat transfer is not cutting all the way through, you could do more. You could do less pressure or more pressure. I'm just going to keep it at default for now. My fine point blade is already added in. If you have a different blade, just make sure you change it. So alrighty, we're just gonna go ahead and load our mat and follow the next step there. So right now I'm just looking for the shiny side, and what I'm gonna do is place the shiny side facing downwards on the mat. That's actually the transfer sheet. If you ever can't decide which side it is, go ahead and peel a little bit of the corner and see where that clear sheet is at. That's what you want facing downwards. Got it? Got it. Let's go next. This is my mat. It is very dirty because of cardstock I've used on a previous project. So make sure the shiny side is underneath. And we're gonna go ahead and make sure that's pushed all the way in. So the light's gonna be blinking. This is pretty much means to load your mat. So we're gonna go ahead and press that. Perfect. Then you're going to notice your window is then going to ask you to go fast mode or just go into flashing go button. I never really use fast mode personally, but you do have that option there. Other than that, let's go ahead and start. So blinking light means go. So as you can see, this says 100% done. So to unload your mat, all you have to do is just press on this blinking light to unload and pull it up. So on here, when you're done with your project, simply press finish. And then what I do is I turn the mat over and I bend it backwards to peel it right off the vinyl. That makes it 10 times easier, doesn't damage the vinyl or cause it to curl up. And then using the little hook, I make a little tear on a corner. It usually makes it a lot easier for me to peel off all that excess vinyl that I'm not going to be using. Do you guys find weeding like relaxing or satisfying? I find it satisfying doing it, but also watching it. Like this was an easy piece. So just rewatching this alone, it's satisfying. I don't know. Weird? I don't know. Except this part. This part, I'm struggling with life, trying to peel it off. But I got it. It's all good. Ta-da! All done. Well, except the little pieces. Now, if they're really, really tiny, sometimes I use a needle to peel it out, but I went ahead and just used the weeding tool for this. And there you go. I know it's a little hard, so I put this purple cardstock paper in the back so you could actually see it. But that's it. It's all weeded. So now moving on to the heating process, I'm going to preheat my Easy Press 2 to 280 degree Fahrenheit. And I'm stuffing the little bags with just a simple towel for added support. And then I'm placing a parchment sheet paper in between the heat press and the faux leather bag. I just don't want it to burn at all. I'm going to preheat it less than 5 seconds just to warm up the base. And then from here, I tend to just eye level everything. If you want it super straight, by all means, measure it. I'm not that OCD when it comes to this. I just eye level it, and until I'm pretty much satisfied with it. There you go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and place that parchment paper right on top and press. So I pressed at 280 degree Fahrenheit for 30 seconds. This has seemed to work the best. It has not damaged the faux leather or burned it or anything. If you actually have Teflon sheets, go ahead and use that. Now, the only thing I messed up here is you can see on the far right-hand side where the little arrow heart is at, it didn't really iron on. I didn't create a flat surface. No worries, I'm just gonna press that edge down a little bit more. Not full 30 seconds, maybe for 15 seconds or so. And that's it. So now, you're gonna do a warm peel. What this means is that you're gonna pretty much just peel it off while it's still warm. And then to kind of seal it down, again, I just like doing this. I'm gonna press onto it, maybe for 10 seconds or so. The reason I'm moving this back and forth is because I don't want any lines to be creased around. So I feel like moving it back and forth for a few seconds will smooth it out. So there you have it. That's how I iron on faux leather. Don't ever feel intimidated to do this on your own. Just make sure you take your time and use very low heat. Thank you so much for sticking through. I know this was a long video, but if you ever have any questions, make sure to drop them down below in the comment section. So question of the day, have you ever ironed on faux leather? Or what is the project that you want to create but a little nervous to do so? I'll really like to hear from you. As always, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already and turn on the notification bell to be alerted on my next video. Bye guys!